Welcome back to Marketing for Your Future. I'm your host, David Binfield. On the program, we talk to digital marketing experts about how they've found success and how you can find success too. So joining me today is Jim Flint from Local Search Group. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Doing well, David. Thanks for having me on the show. Thanks.
It's our pleasure. So, Jim, talk to me about Local Search Group. What kind of service do you guys provide?
We are primarily a digitally based advertising agency in the automotive sector out of Houston, Texas.
So, what kind of services do you provide for the automotive guys?
Primarily Google, Facebook, but as things have evolved, we're into TikTok, Snapchat, creative development, Google Analytics, consulting capabilities with inventory levels, sales operations, everything down that path that is kind of digitally oriented, which is where everything's headed these days.
So what's the most fun project or advertisement that you've worked on with these guys?
Well, I'm just thinking back to last week. We're starting to get these guys into podcasts, and it's really exciting because they're thought leaders, but sometimes they get so busy taking care of the operational aspects of their business that we want to be able to convey what it is that they're thinking, why it is that they're doing what they're doing, how it is that they're contributing to the community. So they're very articulate, they're very visionary. They're trying to give to the greater good, but when you're completing 3,000, service repair orders, 300 new and used car sales, and managing 100 employees, there's a reason they're so busy. So getting them to sit down and record 15-minute podcasts that can then be shared with the community really is helping dealers break through and talk to people in new and different ways. That and TikTok videos. I mean, once you can get them to see the light, the creative aspect starts to shine through, and that's where we come in. But that's really been an exciting time, because of the pandemic. I believe that just escalated to a mind-blowing level. It's been a lot of fun.
That's great. So why auto parts, like why car dealerships, things like that? Why those guys?
Well, I've been in the business for 20 plus years, and I worked for corporate with Toyota, and I've worked for a dealer group, the John Eagle dealerships at retail. So having kind of that prism view, I went for the triangular view and went out and provide support now through my agency, which has been in play for 11 years.
Congratulations. That's a long time. So, you've been doing it for 11 years. It's quite a long time. So what kind of advice do you have for young marketers, especially those who are trying to start their own company?
It's funny. Last week I went to TCU and I talked to a group of students who are in graduate program talking about analytics. And what I told them, what it kind of came down to, they kept asking me, well, when do I go big? When do I go big? When do I go big? And I kept telling them the key really is, and this is from Jim Collins in a book called Good to Great, you want to fire bullets before you fire and shoot the big cannonball. You want to make sure that you've got the system down, you've got the program down, then you go big. And they kept pressing me, well, what about this? What about that? And I said, okay, here's how I know. One of my college baseball teammates was Reed Ryan, and he was moving over from the Round Rock Express, where he managed a AA baseball team. The Houston Astros at the time were historically bad. They had lost 100 games in a row, 3 years in a row, 100 games each year for 3 years, unprecedented level of badness. I said, Reed, are you sure that this is going to work out, that this is the place you want to be? And he told me, he said, you know what, Jim, it can't get any worse, right? And there's only upside from here. And if it doesn't work out, I'll just go back to doing what I was doing before. And so I told them then at the end, after they continued to press, was basically this. When you think it can't get any worse and you're willing to bet as much or more on yourself as you would otherwise on the company, that's the time to go big.
That's great advice. That's fantastic. So what's coming up for Local Search Group? Where are you guys going to expand? What's the next deal?
A lot of what's happening now, I think initially we were consulting, and then as everyone determined that they needed Google and everyone has to have Facebook, it's become more of a commodity. So I'm excited about an engagement that we're taking on here in the fourth quarter where it's more consultative in nature. I'm finding that the conversations in the C-suite where I help companies move forward, not only with their advertising, but basically operationally with profit and loss considerations, i.e. how much should I spend on advertising to get that return on investment, is really where we're taking the company next level.
That's great. Thank you so much. It's been very insightful today. This has been a wonderful interview. I want to thank you so much for your time today, Jim.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
So if you guys would like to learn more about Local Search Group, head to dailyadbrief.com. That's going to do it for Marketing for Your Future. I'm your host, David Benfield, and we'll see you next time.